Hello everyone and welcome to today's Stocks and Crypto Weekly Watchlist video with me, No FOMO Charts. Today is Saturday, January 31st, 2025. It's just after 8:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It was a volatile week in the stock market. There's a lot of news and earnings coming out still. Let's get into it. The first week of February 2025, we have earnings coming out from Palantir, Pfizer, PayPal, Alphabet, Advanced Micro Devices, Walt Disney, Ford, Uber, Amazon, Eli Lilly, Bristol Myers Squibb, and more companies. So we're still in tech earnings part 2. Stocks, economic data. We have job openings, unemployment claims, non-farm employment change, and unemployment rate, especially on Friday. Stock news. USA stock market earnings season continues. President Trump and the White House announced tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China starting Saturday, February 1st, 2025. Other analysts have noted that additional tariffs, the main tariffs, could possibly start in April 2025. Big tech stock earnings were mixed this past week. Tech stocks are still under pressure from DeepSeek AI. Stock market is volatile due to regulatory law changes out of the White House, economic data, earnings, and new tariffs. Crypto news. The CME is preparing to launch options on Bitcoin Friday futures on February 24, 2025, pending regulatory approval. This is options, so that would be daily expiries with smaller contract size. Grayscale launched their Dogecoin Trust Investment Fund that is private placement only. However, Grayscale also filed for an XRP ETF. And other companies have also filed for Solana, Dogecoin, Litecoin ETF applications as well to the SEC. Kraken Exchange will delist, remove stablecoin Tether, USDT by the end of March 2025 due to new EU regulations. PayPal coin is also going to be removed. So we're starting to see this beginning of the meme coin ETF approvals, or applications, I should say. We went from Bitcoin to altcoins to meme coins, and now meme coins have gone mainstream, I would say, in the past year especially. It's just something to watch out for. This is a development that could be dangerous because, honestly, the more that meme coins come out, it makes Bitcoin and Ethereum seem less legitimate. I'm just saying, in general. We'll get to that in the crypto segment. Let's go to stocks. S&P 500, the earnings were wild. Lots of volatility. We hit this resistance below 610. You can see we have multiple tops, so it's not random that the market is coming down. 610.54. We created a lower high because of the tariff news and mixed tech earnings, just below 609. So what I'm watching out for is if the recent price action creates a lower high in the price and we drop down to the 595 or 599 level, we could also hit 588. So I'm watching for the support below to see if it's going to hold or crash. Just a reminder to people, the monthly chart, if we turn off all indicators and drawings, still matters. The monthly chart has been showing bearish momentum, which means that eventually we should get a pullback. It could be very long term, many months or many years from now. But we are in this high price zone in the monthly chart. The weekly chart is not as dangerous looking in terms of momentum on the oscillators. However, there is a potential evening star pattern, or at least a double top 609 is what I'm saying. Nasdaq QQQ ETF is very similar. we dropped below the trend line, so below 530 and 533 resistance on the top side as our resistance. And the support below is 517, 511, and 504. It looks like if earnings are bad this week, we could pull back all the way down to 513. Looking at a weekly chart, there was a double top because of NVIDIA and DeepSeek AI. So this is something that I will basically gently warn people about, that double tops on a weekly chart could be powerful if we have enough negative catalysts in earnings. We could drop all the way down to 507. If it's extremely bad momentum in news, if the bearish M pattern completes, we could drop all the way down to 483. So these are the two targets for the long term, 507 and 484 to the downside. We hit this double top 530. So if we look at the oscillators, it was building the bearish momentum on a monthly chart. Obviously, we are still overbought, very high price on a monthly chart, but that could take months and years to crash. Dow Jones. DIA. Now, DIA, the resistance is more obvious to see. I'll just leave it on a line chart. You can see that we rejected below 450. Previous resistance price was 451, 450. There's all this empty space to test for Dow Jones, all the way down to, in the medium to long term, 436, 426, and 418. And it could retrace. We pull up a small Fibonacci retracement tool. It could pull all the way down to 442 and 437. Pivot points also, it's immediately going to test 444. The pivot point is 432 on a daily, so that's pretty far down. Weekly chart, we have a shooting star candle and nothing extreme on the oscillators. But on this weekly chart, on the monthly chart, we want to make sure that it's not going to turn into a lower high and then we crash down in the price, because the Dow Jones has been an uptrend for almost 2 years now. Russell 2000, struggling, small caps, almost had a rally attempt, but correlated with the broader stock market, and we had a sell-off. So adjust my trend line to include the latest price action. Start with the monthly chart. Monthly chart, want to watch out. This is not going to turn into a bearish head and shoulders. We also pulled out and fell out of this rising wedge price pattern for the past 1.5 years, and we rejected below the trend line. That's bad. That's not a good sign. For now, it could just be a deep consolidation, but it looks like the price wants to pull back to around the 223 level or 215 level. The weekly chart as well, nothing extreme, but the MACD line, signal line for the trend is down crossed. We're still in the uptrend on moving averages. It's just the momentum was lost, and you see we have a short-term resistance at 230. That's it for stocks. Just going to go over the indexes very shortly. Let's move to crypto. Thank you everyone for watching the crypto segment. If you like this video or you learned something, go ahead and click like, subscribe, leave a nice comment, request a chart, or share this video. Total market cap, the resistance level that I'm watching for now is 3.6 trillion. We're still consolidating in this triangle, going sideways in the price, holding support above 3.4 trillion, but it's starting to fade down the momentum. So if we have a lower low, we could go straight down to 3.37 trillion. If it's extremely bad crash, pull back to 3.1, or if it's really bad, 2.75. Weekly chart, the wicks, we had a double top on the candlestick wicks, 3.65 trillion at the top side, correlated with the Nasdaq. So sometimes crypto correlates and moves in the same direction as tech stocks. So Nasdaq crashed, NVIDIA crashed, Bitcoin also pulled back. But we know there are big bull whale buyers. We're just hoping that the price can stay above $100,000 Bitcoin in the near term. On the monthly chart, there is a bit of bearish divergence that's building. The weekly chart, we just had the double top in the price consolidating to the side in the flag pattern, basically, the pennant. And we're just watching to see if we're going to hold that resistance. So it's business as usual until there's a crash. Bitcoin is very similar. You can see we bounced off that $92,000 level. Starting to see a head and shoulders on the daily. I think people are starting to get a little bit nervous about the stock market, the economy. There's so many bad things that happened in January 2025. Just not a great start to the beginning of the year. So on a monthly chart, let's go to a weekly chart. Actually, it's easier to see. We could have a potential double top on Bitcoin. I am all out of Bitcoin right now because of this problem. I believe that if the stock market crashes, it's going to pull Bitcoin down in the short term. In one scenario, we could crash down to 94,000. If it's really bad, we could crash down to 82 or 87,000. And the pivot's way down here. So we're stuck in the middle of that pivot point. The monthly chart, we had it last month. We had a shooting star and we had a large doji candle. See if we can hold that. Weekly chart for Bitcoin, we are starting to see a little bit of bearish momentum. It's not bearish divergence yet. So it looks like we're going to have a pullback and then maybe a retest of support price. Ethereum USD. Ethereum had a nice support bounce off the 618, 3064 level. Not quite a pivot. It was most likely a 4-hour momentum play, also a 1-hour oversold play. You can see the trend line break out there, and then there's multiple oversold levels. You're seeing a Stoch RSI oscillator. That's just from a different session. I don't always use that all the time, but that's just happens to be on this video today. Resistance, obviously we're approaching it 3414. I do like this is consolidating and there's strong support. This is the third time we found support above 3,000. Just make sure we're not going to correlate too much with Bitcoin and crash. But Ethereum was at that 200 EMA, the moving average. So that's why we bounced. People like 200 EMA. Very strong pattern. Sometimes, especially if we had like a COVID crash or something like that, I like to add in even more EMAs just for analysis. Add in, for example, a 300 EMA, 300-day EMA on the bottom. And you can see we actually touched that. So in the past 300 days, this was the average price. I'll put it in pink, in very thick pink. So you can see that we bounced straight off of that level. It is basically perfect. So sometimes having an extra 300-day EMA or 400-day EMA, if it's extremely volatile, can help. So it looks like the price is not just floating in the middle of space down here, in the middle of nowhere. There's always some kind of mathematical number or formula or level that it's hitting on support or resistance. If we look to the left side, we can also see this wick down here correlates with some of this price action from 2024 on the left side. So it's not a random price that it gets 3,000 and then bounces up, not random. Immediate resistance 3339 and then support 3300. XRP. For now, XRP consolidating again. It's turning into a rising wedge pattern. If we turn the EMAs on, it's still in an uptrend for now. If I do very short-term trend lines, flagging to the side, this could move plus or minus 10%. Basically, 340 is the upside target if we crash 272, but there's already been a support test there. That could bring us right down to approximately the pivot point, basically, or below that. So just watching to see if it's going to correlate with Bitcoin or not. I do want to caution people on a weekly chart. XRP starting to build its weekly bearish divergence. So that's something we want to watch out for. You can see the RSI is making a lower low for now, and the price is trying to make a higher high. This is not final, however, it's in development. If I start to see an evening star candle or a bearish engulfing candle, which we almost had, so we avoided that pattern this past week. If this happens, then we know maybe the bearish momentum is going to start. Let's go to Solana and then we'll end the video. Solana USDT bouncing off of the 200 EMA, which is wonderful, the actual double bottom. But we pumped basically up to a resistance point. Sometimes I like to use 2 pivots and not just 1 layer of pivot points. So number of pivot backs, we have the 2, and we'll see we hit the R2 level and crash down to R1, and we're holding between R1 and the next pivot point right now in terms of support and resistance. Daily chart is stochastic, oversold. However, on the longer term weekly, had a medium term double top. So that means we just rejected. If the stock market crashes or crypto market crashes, we could pull back to 205 and kind of retest that level. But for the most part, because Solana and meme coins are so popular right now, I'm expecting this to just kind of hold its ground here above 211 for now. I like Solana. I still like it. It was fast. If you make transactions on Solana and you send even, $5 or $10, it's fast, except for when the network gets congested with meme coin trading. But for the most part, Solana's good. I like Solana, personally. So we're just looking for the resistance area, 243 and 220 areas. When it's in the middle of nowhere like that, for me personally, it's not really a strategy for me. The only thing is maybe the intraday stochastic RSI, which I have down here in the orange and blue, is oversold. So I'm watching to see if that support holds or not. The last part of this video, I just want to pull up. Let's go to maybe IBIT just to show. This is just a little indicator overview. Sometimes I like using what's called the linear regression channel. It's a free indicator on many platforms for stocks and crypto. In TradingView, I just changed the color. I think the default is red or something like that with the background, but everything's default numbers, 100-day. And you can see it's drawing a 100-day linear regression line. It's similar to a trend line, but more reactive. There's more information on Google and AI about linear regression lines. But I like to throw it and put it up on the chart, on a daily chart. And sometimes it just helps me draw and create trend lines. See, if I draw it manually, it looks very ugly. But if I erase it on my drawings and just keep a linear regression line, it's actually very easy to see sometimes where the support levels are. Be mindful, though, that this indicator does repaint and change. So it follows the price action. So you can see the line is actually moving, but it does give a general relative idea of, am I relative high price or am I relative low price? Or am I in the middle average price in the past 100 days? Similar to a moving average, but more reactive. So in terms of stocks, you can see also NVIDIA for now, back when we were testing this area of 150 of this stock, if I rewind on bar replay, the price was still generally in the high zone of that linear regression. And if we play and let it go, it's still generally in the high zone, right? The indicator's repainting, it's redrawing. We have this crash. But let's see when it bounces to the 150 zone. Rewind. Here, it's towards the top side, the upper end of the linear regression line. So it's not an area of deep value. So that's why I did not long NVIDIA in the past month or so. I know. For me, it's just not part of my strategy. It's priced too high. And if there's a potential head and shoulders, I do not want to buy this at all. Maybe I'll short it. And then it did short. But we want to short from a high spot down. Shorting is unreliable a lot of times. But what was the warning signal? Again, on a monthly chart, this is just general education information now. On a monthly chart or a weekly chart, long term, the price is high. In this linear regression, 100 months, the price is at the all-time high. RSI is screaming overbought, so high. Stochastic RSI is saying overbought. Price is very high right now for NVIDIA on a monthly. Let's go to Bitcoin and just check. Sometimes it pays to just know what's going on. NVIDIA, monthly linear regression. Is Bitcoin price expensive or cheap right now, according to historical data? Bitcoin price is expensive. It's the highest price of all time. Same with NVIDIA. So when we have these crashes It's only a matter of time before a negative catalyst crashes the price or pulls back the price, causes people to sell, panic sell, fear, uncertainty, doubt, panic, anxiety, because the price is so high of both Bitcoin and Nvidia. Price is not low. So that's why for me, I know looking at charts every day, every week, every month, basically, is the price is so high. The valuations are so high for stocks. It's just a matter of after we pull back, let's say even for Nvidia, just a little bit, or Bitcoin, after we pull back, will the support prices hold, and how deep are we going to pull back? Where is it going to go down to? That's the analysis forecast part. But however, it's just psychologically, I know we're kind of high priced right now. So I don't really want to long anything that too much. That's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong. This is not financial advice, but it's just some food for thought. If I'm only staring at intraday levels, like a 5-minute or 15, most people are not thinking about it like that. They don't really care, or they just are not aware of where are we in the long term. It looks like the price is low price because you see a little 15-minute, 5-minute crash, or even hourly. But if you zoom out to the weekly or the monthly, prices are high. So beware, everybody. That's all I'm trying to say. And for me, I'm just trying to personally manage my emotions and try to have as much patience as possible. Thank you for watching this video, and hope you have a nice week. See you in the next video.